Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm here today for your ortho update, and you're gonna kind of get a 2-for-1. I had gone about 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and filmed a quick little update for you. Wasn't a super ton going on, so it was fairly quick. And at the end, I thought I might combine that with the next one and give you both at the same time. And so that is what is happening today. So first thing, here is the first update from last visit. Check it out. Hey guys, welcome back. We're here today for a quick ortho update, and it should be fairly quick. Not a whole lot going on this time around, but I like to keep you updated on what new things there are. So the only real new thing this time was did the figure 8 band, which he had used before across the front teeth to try and bring this gap back in. But now that he has other things where he wants them, we're trying to bring the whole top back. So we have that, what's called a figure 8 band, because it literally kind of goes, around the brackets. Basically, there's a space for the bracket, and then they connect in between like that. And this one now is going all the way from front to back on both sides. All the way around, from this side to that side. I did not explain that well, but hopefully you understand what I'm talking about. So yeah. And that space is moving already, which is cool. He did mention that the top and the bottom would be a little tight this time around, but for different reasons, and it was pretty accurate. I'm not sure what he changed on the bottom, if it was just, I don't know. I was pretty sure it was the same wire, so, but I can definitely feel it more pulling on the back teeth now, which is, I think, what we want. We did also do a full panoramic x-ray again this time, so it was really cool to see the side-by-side of those two x-rays of what it looked like when we started and now. And I did not get any footage of that because I wasn't expecting to see it, but I will get some of that next time so that I can show you guys, because it was pretty cool to see the side-by-side. And you can really tell that the bottom are nicely aligned now.
Can I compare them? I can compare them. Hold on.
Yeah. There. Sorry. No, you're good. And so he was saying that we're going to work on, pushing those out, pulling these in. We officially have 4 to 6 months to go. And I'm sure this time. We will be talking soon about implants, and I've got to find an oral surgeon. I know that I'd mentioned it to him, and he said, oh, well, you'll work with your dentist, and he'll tell you who to go to for that. I may or may not. I know that, obviously, I'm going to ask him his recommendations, and who he, I don't know how many different people. He may be like this one, or may just be like, this is the guy. But I do know that when we first started talking about this, his hygienist was like aghast as she was telling me the story of the latest guy that he had in the office, what he wanted to charge per post. So if he recommends someone like that, I won't be going with his recommendation. I do want it to be done well and done right and by someone with experience, but I do not need to find the most expensive person to do it. I'd love for it to be somewhat affordable because, as I've probably mentioned, this is all out of pocket for me. We do have dental insurance, but they don't cover very much. They cover up to, depending on your plan, it's like $1,000 or $1,500 a year. And whatever you spend that on, it doesn't matter. Like when they say 80% of this or 50% of that or 25% of this, that's up to that amount of money. Once you've spent that amount of money, they're not covering anything else. It's just out of pocket. So, and braces, they don't cover it all. So that's been entirely out of pocket. I will have some coverage when it comes to the surgery for the posts and the implants. But again, I need, in theory, minimum 3 posts and a minimum of 5 crowns. And they will cover about 1 a year. So unless I want to take 5 to 8 years to finish this, it's coming out of my pocket. So that's not been easy. And I do have to think about how much is this going to cost. I mean, there's just no way around it. It's fact of life. So we may do a little shopping around to see, what our options are for that. But that'll be coming up soon. My next appointment is in like 2 weeks. They were only 4 weeks apart this time. And that is because they had a vacation, a break coming up. And so nobody was getting an appointment 6 weeks from my last appointment. They were going to try and do 5. It ended up being 4 just because of the way it worked out in the book. So you may or may not hear it from me after that one because it's going to be pretty quick between the two. And there may not be a lot of news to pass along. But if there is, you can be sure I will pop on here and let you know. What else? Other than that, the appointment went pretty well. I did get the new girl again, and she did kind of stab me in the gums with her fingernails again a little bit. So I figured, I'm going to, as gently as possible, relay this to her this time, because if this is what she wants to do for a living, and clearly she does, she needs to know this. She needs to be able to work in someone's mouth comfortably. I kind of jumped when she got me, and then she went back. She was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go near your gum again, okay?" And I think she just thought I had sensitive gums, and I was like, "No, that's fine. It was your fingernail. It was a little. You're kind of digging into me." And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And I was like, "No, I'm sorry." But and then she was like, "Oh, I just cut them too." And I'm thinking, my gosh, how long were they before? So this just may be something that she has to adjust to. Again, she's new, so there's a learning curve for her working with real people and all of that good stuff. So hopefully I was helpful to her in her career by being honest with her. But she did a great job, and she's super sweet. And then the doctor did the figure 8 band that went all the way from the front to the back, because this space he knew was going to be tricky. And again, anytime anything is tricky, he tends to just do it himself, which I love. And a lot of the stuff that needs to be done in my mouth tends to be tricky. So anyways, he took care of that. Was a little sore for a few days, but nothing major this time around, which was great. The rubber band itself, it goes like a figure 8 around the brackets. And so there's a space where the bracket is, and then it connects, and then it opens to the next bracket and connects like that as it goes around. But it's kind of flat. And, as it moves around, there tends to be sides to that elastic, and I can feel it more. My food gets caught in it more. There's just more room for food to get caught in it, so that's been fun. But other than that, it's not a big deal. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I'm missing. But, again, there wasn't a ton of excitement this time around, which is okay. I'm kind of enjoying this little bit of the lull before we get into the pace of everything that's going to happen at the end. And I also have a 25th anniversary coming up in June, which is when the 6 months will be. So if I go all the way to the end of the 6 months, then that's going to run into plans for whatever we do for that. So I've got a lot to figure out as we get into the last phases. But I kind of have to wait and see how things go before I can make any of those decisions. So I will keep you posted as I go along. But yeah, in the meantime, I think we're good. And I hope you guys are enjoying this wonderful, mild winter we're having so far. Knock on wood, because who knows how long it'll last. But actually, we're getting our first snow this weekend, so it's probably not going to last very long. I think they're saying 6 to 12 inches. But it is January 5th, so I think we're due. It's time. It'll be our first snow, so that's unusual for us. So yeah, until next time, I guess I'll just enjoy the snow, and I hope that you guys all stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys. So, as promised, here I am for that addition to your last update. I just have, the figure 8 band all the way from back to back on the front. That was about the only new thing last time. This next one, he did add on elastics. So now, and I have one elastic. He did say I was only going to benefit from, at this point, from elastics on one side. I do think that I may have them on both sides at some point, but not yet. It's a little off center apparently, and we want to pull more to one side than the other. And that's also going to help bring the top teeth back and close the spaces more. So he put those on. It goes from the top one here all the way to the bottom one all the way in the back. And I wore them. He said it is 24/7. The only time you take them off is to eat or to brush. And I was pretty good. I was pretty proud of myself. Proud of myself? Why can I not talk today? I was pretty proud of myself because I got used to it pretty quick and remembering it pretty quick within about the first week or so. Generally taking them off to eat, I'd like get that first bite and be like, oh, and then remember. And then putting it back on, sometimes it takes me a little while afterwards, but usually if I feel around, I'm like, oh, no elastic, and I run and get them pretty quick. So got used to it pretty quick. It definitely was not as big of an adjustment being in my mouth as some of the wires were. But it does catch your cheek a little bit, and it is a circle, even though it's stretched taut to a line when it's open. It's, there's two pieces, so occasionally your cheek can get sandwiched in there a little bit. Not enough to cut it or really pinch it hard, but enough to kind of make a little bit of a mark on your cheek until it calluses up and gets used to it like every other step of this treatment. But it wasn't bad. There was a little bit of soreness in the beginning. Anytime there's a change in the way things are pulling, there's a little bit of soreness, but again, that lets you know that it's doing something, so that's cool. And so this was good. This went on for about 2 weeks, and then I got up, Friday night of that weekend, I noticed that there was something caught up here. I kept trying to get whatever it is out of there, and then I finally looked in the mirror and realized that the band itself was off the back two brackets. I was like, oh no, it was Friday night, so obviously it was going to be at least a couple days before I was going to be able to see him. I was able to take a pointy-ended toothpick and kind of grab the circle, pull it, and put it on the bracket. And the same, my second one, I got the toothpick in and I pulled it back and I got it back on the bracket. So I was pretty proud of myself. It's like, I fixed it. And then I got up Sunday morning to I brushed my teeth, put my elastic on, and it was loose. The bracket was loose. And I was like, oh no. I left it on for a little while, and then I was like, no, this can't be good. So I took it off. I switched it to the next tooth up, because I thought, well, it's a slightly different angle, but at least it's on and be better than not wearing it. But within like half a day, that tooth really started to hurt. So I thought, let me not pull on teeth I'm not sure I'm supposed to pull on. So I called them, left them a message Sunday, and they called me back Monday morning. And I assumed that they would get me in Monday, Tuesday. Monday morning when I got up, the bracket was completely off. Actually, Sunday night during dinner, the bracket came out. So it was off. I was glad that the wire wasn't like moving crazy or sticking me anywhere. It's funny because without the bracket, the wire actually just sits closer to your tooth. So it's kind of less obtrusive. But it also makes me feel like, all right, nothing's being done right now and I don't like wasting this time. So I was hoping to get in Monday, but I'm like, maybe it'll be Tuesday. And then they were like, I was bummed because they were like, well, we can't see you till Wednesday. So I was like, ugh, all right, geez, 3 days. All right, well, I guess if it is what it is, then I'll see you Wednesday. She's like, no elastics until then. Don't wear it on the wrong, like, just don't wear it. So I'm like, all right. So Wednesday rolls around. Now, my husband, unfortunately, did slide his car off the road during the last snowstorm. Thankfully, he is perfectly fine. No airbags deployed or anything like that, but he did end up kind of on a rock wall and did damage. So his car's in the shop being fixed, and we usually have 3 cars between the 3 of us, but we're down to 2. Now my daughter and my husband work together, so they carpool. So I usually have the other vehicle and they have one. On Wednesday, it's my daughter's day off, so she usually takes her own car and my husband takes my car, and then I don't necessarily have one on Wednesday. I had forgotten about this because it was a new development. It was just the week before we had dropped the car off. So Wednesday rolls around, I'm excited to go see him, and she's like, oh, I'm going to Portland, Maine to look at apartments. Obviously, my husband's taking one to go to work, and he leaves at the crack of dawn. I'm a second shift girl. I'm not getting up to crack of dawn to drive anyone anywhere. So I was pretty bummed, and I called him back, and I'm like, I'm so sorry. I called him the night before when I found out, but obviously I had to leave them a message because I didn't know until the night before what was happening with the cars the next day. So I left them a message so they would get it early in the morning first thing, and then when I got up, I called them, and I was like, I just want to make sure you got my message and see when I can get in there. Thinking Thursday or Friday. Oh, we'll have to be next Wednesday. Like, what? So I wasn't aware of this. I love my doctor, don't get me wrong. My orthodontist, he's amazing. He's great. Personable, professionally, everything, he's great. But I didn't realize that he's only there on Wednesday. And then I asked them when I went in, they were like, every other Monday and Wednesday. I'm like, it's a pretty good schedule. So that was disappointing, I'm not going to lie, because I know firsthand once you get used to something, it can take a week or whatever to get used to it. You take it off, 24 hours, 48 hours, you're already back to where you were, and you have to get used to it all over again. If you've been following along, you know I've gone through this before. So I was really bummed. I had been religious about keeping the elastics on as much as humanly possible, and now it was going to be a week and a half without them. And it was almost as long as I had been wearing them. So I was definitely bummed about that. It is what it is. And he even said, like, there's no way you can get here today. And I'm like, I'm not going to pay $50 for an Uber to come down. And I'm a couple towns away from my orthodontist, so it's not a quick jaunt. There just wasn't. There was no reasonable way for me to get there. There are no buses in this town. There's no public transit. It just wasn't going to happen. I didn't know it was going to be, he did when he said that it was going to be another week. So anyways, another week went by, and I did finally go and see him yesterday. I was so happy to be there, and he's just so nice. And, of course, he's never unkind or disappointed or anything with me. He's not going to lecture me about not getting there, but I was mad at myself. And he was like, no, it's fine. It's all good. It's fine. Everything's great. So positive. But he did put the bracket back on, and I did get to put my elastics back on. And I have another appointment for 2 weeks from now because he's making them every 4 weeks now. So that tells me even more that he expects these last few things to move very quickly and easily, hopefully. What was the air quotes? I was trying to do this. That was hilarious. Anyways, so I do have another appointment in 2 weeks, and I was thinking that since I just saw him, he would reschedule it, and the girl who was doing my bands this time thought the same thing and suggested it to him. She's like, so do you want us to cancel it? And he's like, nope, keep that appointment in 2 weeks. I want to see her again in 2 weeks. So he's got a schedule in mind for the last few steps, and we're there. So yeah, so there's the excitement that you missed this time around. But we are pretty straight on the bottom now, which I showed you last time. The top teeth are coming back. I can feel it. It's definitely a little easier to line them up. I still, when I bite on my back teeth, there's still a lot of room there, but I think that is going to be fixed with the crowns and the implants more than anything else. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm feeling good. I was able to get used to the elastic again pretty quick, which was nice because I was worried that it was going to be like, brand new again, but it wasn't bad. My tooth was sore for like a half a day. Once I started wearing it again, that's already gone. So yeah, we are getting to the end of this process. I can't thank you guys enough for coming along with me. It's been quite a journey. I have no regrets so far, though, whatsoever. I definitely am getting excited for, the end. I am getting to the point where I'm ready to not have braces anymore. It's funny because on one hand, I'm so used to them now that I barely think about it. But on the other hand, when I do notice it, I'm like, all right, enough. Like, it's enough. So it will feel good to be done. And I can't wait. I will see you guys then.